boy, a nice warm stroll across the beach, nice sunset. I don't think we're going to be doing that anytime in the next couple of days, though. By midweek, theoretically, yeah, you could. All right, it is Sunday evening, the 14th of January, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. It is cold, and for those lucky few in Texas where it's not cold, it will eventually get cold. But for now, enjoy that warmth while it lasts, while the rest of the state is envious of your position. All right, let's talk about who's going to see some more freezing drizzle, freezing rain, all that fun stuff tonight into Monday. Let's talk about who's going to possibly get some lake effect snow. Let's talk about who is going to end up below zero, and when are we all going to finally get above freezing. As you might not be able to tell, this is going to be a bit of a more informal discussion because, well, to be honest, I didn't want to put the effort into making a fancy whole video with the captions, all that, and, the annotations on screen. All the social media stuff automatically captions all this stuff, for what it's worth. So, all right, let's just pop over. Let's take a look at the current winter weather alerts for the state of Texas. Now, we've got travel advisories for pretty much South Texas, the Hill Country, South Central Texas, the Coastal Plains, the Coastal Bend, the Victoria Crossroads up into the Hill Country, the Concho Valley, Central Texas, North Texas, bit of Texoma from Gainesville East, all the way through the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas, including the Houston Metro, into the Piney Woods of East Texas. That's the orange shading of Texas. In terms of impacts, well, we're going to be watching for some slick spots on roads, bridges, overpasses, ramps, a thin layer of ice on exposed objects. Now, not everyone is going to end up with ice, but because of the difficult nature of pinpointing freezing drizzle on radar, because it's so light, it typically doesn't show up on radar returns. This is going to be a situation where you have to maintain some situational awareness. If you have ice accumulating on your vehicle while driving, then that is a good indication that if there's ice on your car, it's probably on the bridges and overpasses and even some roadways too. So use common sense and understand if you're going highway speed and you hit a bridge that's iced over, you're going to go slicky, slicky, doom, doom into the wall. Or if you're very unfortunate, over the wall, in which case you're going to have a much worse time than just a bent fender on your vehicle. In terms of Northeast Texas, the Arklatex, we get to go from the Texas orange to the Boomer Sooner red, and that's a winter storm warning. That's just where we could see slightly more ice, a bit of snow. Now, a bit of a surprise today we've dealt with are some snow flurries. That's not really something we totally expected, but there's enough moisture trapped in the first few thousand feet of the atmosphere, and it's so cold we're able to condense that moisture out into snowflakes. We're also seeing some lake effect snows. Example, Lake Louisville. We've got a north wind over it right now. We're actually seeing a thin band of light snow south across pretty much near DFW Airport, all the way down almost 360. It's a narrow band. It's light, but we could see that with several lakes across the state where with these north winds, we may see some light snow on the south side of the lake, and that's just because the lake temperatures are so much warmer than the air temperature right now. It's providing a little bit of low levels instability, and that's allowing for a bit of snow. All right, let's take a look at the forecast simulated weather radar through tomorrow. Now, that's a fun picture, isn't it? You see all those little bands of pink doom across several regions of Texas. Now, this model is depicting areas of freezing drizzle, light freezing rain. For the most part, we're talking very, very light. This is not going to be a crippling ice storm. This is not going to be Cobblestone-geddon. This is not going to be Ice-mageddon. This is not going to be a blizzard. This is not going to be an event where we are going to have enough ice to knock out the power grid, bring down high-tension power lines, bring down power lines, when you get a lot of ice, everything sags down. This should not be that situation. But it will be a situation where we are going to see ice develop on exposed objects. That'll start with bridges, overpasses, things above the ground initially, but it's so cold out we could even see that extend down to the ground itself. So some surface roads, sidewalks, stuff like that, we're going to have to be mindful of slick spots. And I'm not saying everything everywhere is going to be encased in ice. It could easily be a situation where you're just driving along just fine, roads look fine, you're going highway speed, then you hit a bridge or a patch of ice where the freezing drizzle was a bit heavier, and then you go slicky slicky doom doom into the wall, and you end up having a smashed fender. So we're going to have to be mindful of that. And again, there's two ways to monitor that. I mean, there's probably more than two ways, but the main two ways I'm going to mention are if you're out and about driving at night, if you have drizzle or ice accumulating on your car, it's a good indication it's accumulating elsewhere, like roads. And two, you can check drivetexas.org for Texas road conditions. That is the road condition website for the state of Texas, drivetexas.org, and that'll give you an indication of what might be going on, where you are, or where you're heading. Now, as you can see off this graphic, I'm going to actually stop this animation so I can talk through. You can see at 11 o'clock tonight, this thing thinks we're going to have freezing drizzle. Arklatex, Brazos Valley, Central Texas, I-35 down to San Antonio. And again, this stuff may be light enough where it's not going to actually show up on the radar itself, but it's going to be there. We may see some snow flurries with this as well. So we head into pre-dawn Monday. You can see activity becomes more widespread. Freezing drizzle, light freezing rain, all the way from Laredo to near Corpus Christi, up through San Antonio, Victoria, Austin, Brazos Valley, west-north sides of Houston, all the way up through Waco, maybe even the DFW Metroplex, especially south and east sides of the Metroplex, through East Texas, the Arklatex, the Piney Woods of East Texas. And again, this is not going to be probably 100% coverage where everyone's going to have accumulating ice, but if this verifies, we are going to have patches of ice. And you're going to need to be mindful of that tomorrow if you're out and about driving, and be mindful of that when you step outside your home, that stairs, all that stuff could have a thin layer of ice. It's going to be slicky, slicky, doom, doom. So we continue into later Monday. You can see 8 a.m. We've actually got that activity. Corpus Christi, within 50 miles of Brownsville and McAllen. Brownsville, McAllen, you're going to have drizzle, but you should be above freezing tomorrow morning, so it'll be just drizzle. Corpus Christi, freezing drizzle. Victoria, freezing drizzle. San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Bryan, College Station, Houston, Nacogdoches, Jasper, Lufkin, Tyler, Marshall, Longview, Shreveport, Texarkana, Mount Vernon, freezing drizzle. If this is right, it should be out of the Metroplex by 8 a.m. as some dry air filters in, but we'll see. Again, sometimes the stuff is nitpicky and just will keep on going. So we continue through the day. You see, we actually have patches of freezing drizzle continue through southeast Texas, the Victoria Crossroads, the Golden Triangle, through mid-afternoon Monday, which could be a problem for the elevated ramps, overpasses, highways in the sky, stuff above the ground. And then as we get into Tuesday morning, you can see actually some of that activity. As temperatures fall below freezing in deep South Texas, we might actually see a little bit of freezing drizzle in places like McAllen and Brownsville. We'll have to wait and see. I'll pause it, but you can see we actually get cold enough, according to this model, where just enough freezing drizzle, maybe right on the Rio Grande Valley border with Mexico, McAllen, Brownsville. And if so, we'll have to keep an eye out for some of the elevated ramps, bridges, overpasses. So that is the expectation there. And again, here's the current winter weather alerts in terms of we're going to be keeping an eye out tonight and tomorrow morning. And depending on how things trend tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, this may get expanded south into the Rio Grande Valley for Monday evening, Tuesday morning. But again, drivetexas.org is something you're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, regardless of any winter weather precipitation, ice accumulations, it's going to be cold. Now, if you're in McAllen, it's going to be 40 tonight. Brownsville, it's going to be a balmy 49. It's going to stay above freezing west of the Davis-Guadalupe Mountains because the air mass that has invaded Texas thus far is fairly shallow, only a couple thousand feet thick in the low levels of the atmosphere, which is why above that we have a layer of warmer air, which is generally why we're seeing freezing rain, freezing drizzle versus, all snow. Outside of that, it's going to be cold. Below zero tonight in the Panhandle, below zero across much of Oklahoma. Single digits. Wichita Falls, 7. Gainesville, 6. DFW, 8 to 10. And then teens all the way down to Austin, just northwest of Bryan College Station. 20s all the way down to South Texas, Southeast Texas, East Texas. It gets worse tomorrow night. Here's Monday's high temperature forecast. We're not getting out of the teens and 20s across the northern half of Texas. It's going to stay cold elsewhere across the state except the Rio Grande Valley, where y'all are lucky enough to still not have crash of the cold front until tomorrow evening. It'll be in the 60s tomorrow afternoon in South Padre Island, Brownsville, 60s, El Paso, Alpine, west of the Davis-Guadalupe Mountains. Enjoy that. Here's tomorrow night's low temperatures. Alpine, guess what? You go from about 65 to 10 tomorrow night. Enjoy that temperature drop. El Paso, 28 degrees Tuesday morning. Single digits are below zero. The Panhandle, West Texas. Single digits into the Big Country, the Concho Valley, Texoma, North Texas, the Arklatex, Northeast Texas. We're going to be in the teens all the way down to San Antonio, Del Rio, north sides of Houston, Jasper in the piney woods of East Texas, 20s all the way to the Texas Gulf Coast. The only ones who might stay just above freezing again right around Brownsville, and that's a maybe. Otherwise, it's going to be cold. Here's Tuesday's high temperature forecast. Near or below freezing the northern two-thirds of Texas, 30s to 40s across the remainder of the state, except maybe El Paso, far west Texas. Y'all may get up in the mid-50s. Nice upswing. But even if we have some ice accumulations, or where we have ice accumulations tonight and tomorrow, we're going to see some evaporation occur thanks to the cold, dry wind. And then by Tuesday, we're going to have sunshine. So even though locations may stay below freezing, we should see improvements on road conditions in conjunction with any sort of road treatment that is underway by TxDOT. As we head into Wednesday morning, now this is going to be unpleasant for all of Texas. It's going to be cold. Teens, 20s galore for most of the state. A couple 30s if you're lucky. El Paso, it's going to be close to freezing. Otherwise, pretty much all of Texas will be below freezing Wednesday morning. But, ooh, nice temperature swing up. We should all be above freezing Wednesday afternoon. Highs in the upper 30s in Texarkana, 40s, northeastern quarter of Texas, 40s, 50s, 60s to low 70s across the state. We'll see a pretty drastic warm-up across the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, Trans-Pecos, Davis, Guadalupe Mountains, and far west Texas with highs in the 60s, low 70s. And then by Thursday, 60s, 70s, maybe even low 80s. Southwestern half of Texas, northeastern half of Texas will stay in the 50s. And then another strong cold front arrives Thursday night and Friday. Not as strong as this Arctic outbreak, but still strong in its own right, and it's going to get cold again. So that is going to be it. And again, I'll just let this loop play for a minute while I talk over it. Main issue tonight, Monday, will be patchy freezing drizzle, light freezing rain, perhaps some snow flurries, and we're also going to have some lake effect snows, larger bodies of water. South of those bodies of water, we might have some lake effect snow that drops a dusting, maybe even up to an inch of snow in spots. Example, Lake Lewisville right now, there's a band of light snow. South of that, causing snow flurries down 360, DFW Airport, mid-cities towards Arlington. Otherwise, again, this is not a crippling ice storm. This is not going to be Ice-Mageddon, Cobblestone-Geddon. This is not going to be something that should cause widespread infrastructure damage, knock trees down because of how much ice accumulates. It's going to be very light, but it will be enough to cause slicky doom, and we're going to need to be mindful of that. And regardless, it's going to be cold. It's already cold, and it's going to stay cold through Wednesday morning. Outside of that, we should see precipitation end across a majority of the state tomorrow evening, with the chance for some light freezing drizzle, perhaps in the Rio Grande Valley, Monday night and Tuesday morning. Otherwise, we should see conditions improve pretty quickly on Tuesday as that wind causes some evaporation. We see some sunshine in conjunction with TxDOT's efforts. And again, I'm not saying every road is going to be ice. We need to watch the bridges, the overpasses, elevated ramps, stuff like that initially. But given how cold it is, especially where we're in the single digits and teens, it's certainly possible some surface roads are going to have some slick spots. We'll need to watch it carefully. Truthfully, this is going to be a nowcasting event versus a forecasting event where we're just going to have to watch road conditions as things continue to progress. Luckily, tomorrow's a holiday, so we'll have less traffic than usual. we'll have to just watch it. Honestly, that's all we can do. Freezing drizzle may not even show up well on the weather radar. We've been relying on y'all's reports all day, and we didn't really expect much earlier today, to be honest, but we had some snow flurries and even some light freezing drizzle in the Metroplex, the Arklatex, East Texas. So we'll keep an eye on it, and that's all we can do. As always, you can get your local weather forecast, your current weather conditions, down to the neighborhood level in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers in your device's store. You can track the cold front temperatures and whatever might show up on the radar with our free interactive weather radar on our website, texasstormchasers.com/radar. And as always, we'll be keeping an eye on things here overnight into Monday morning. We'll have our next scheduled regular Texas Weather Roundup video out by 6 to 6:30 a.m. Monday with updates on social media as needed overnight. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. Thanks for tuning in. We'll keep an eye on things. Y'all stay warm. And I'm sorry about the Cowboys. That wasn't fun to watch. But try to have a better night. We'll keep an eye on things. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.